Morning. My name is Beck Roan, and I have the distinct pleasure and honor of introducing this year's recipient of the Idaho State Bar Distinguished Lawyer Award. Congratulations, Ann Solomon.
Thank you.
Ann is my business partner and is also my mother. Idaho State Bar, and not only that, your family and your friends and some of your colleagues just kind of would like to hear about you and kind of where you grew up, your background here in Idaho, and what made you kind of want to become a lawyer.
I was born in Sandpoint. I'm one of seven children. We didn't have a lot of money, but we didn't know it because in Sandpoint, with then a population of about 2,000, we had the best world. We had the beach. We were free. We rode our bikes. We were all over town. We basically were raised to be self-reliant, and I just really benefited from that. My folks moved down here when I was going into eighth grade, and my dad and mom bought a grocery store and put us all to work, which was also really great because not only for my folks, because they had free labor, but also we learned a work ethic. We weren't paid, but that was a great childhood.
Was there anything in particular in high school that made you maybe think that you wanted to be a lawyer, or maybe put you in that direction towards law?
Yeah, when I went to high school, my geometry teacher, Mr. Backman, he was starting a debate program, and I joined that. That was pre-titled. Well, I was never athletic anyway, so I was always just kind of a bookworm. So I went on the debate team, and I really took to debate because of all the research and being able to talk a position for and against. So and my partner that one of the years anyway was Jeannie Richmond. She was dynamite debater. We were the state champions 2 years and represented Idaho at nationals. And then I also took up oratorical speaking and just some other, public speaking events. So that allowed me a lot of opportunities for travel and also the team and the competition, plus the whole skills of debate. So that was great for me.
Now, I always enjoy, and I've heard this story a few times about why you attended college and where you went to college. So would you be willing to share that story with some
Sure,
people?
sure. It's kind of funny looking back, but it was really so fortuitous, and that's the way a lot of I feel that my life has been. I I went to Girls State, and I was president of. I was then went to Girls Nation. I was president of Girls Nation, and then I went back to DC for the inauguration of President Nixon, which tells you how long ago that was. But anyway, in one of the inaugural parties, I met a woman, and she said, "Well, where are you going to college?" Which at that time I didn't know. I was assuming I would go to U of I. And she said, "No, you need to apply to Stanford, and you need to do it right now because they take early admittance." And so I went home and I applied, and I was in like within, a couple months. It was so really fast and kind of amazing. So then I did go to Stanford, and they paid my way. I did work study helping out, but then I had a fantastic undergrad experience down there in California. Sue, my sister Sue Flamia, who had been an English teacher, had been my English teacher, in fact, which that's a whole other story. But anyway, she and I talked, and we decided, we could really help people. We could really kind of contribute here if we went to law school. So she started at Gonzaga on the 4-year program, and then I applied and then came back up to Idaho and went to U of I.
And so was it always the plan to just have a practice with you and your sister?
Yeah. And you know what? We were the only sisters. We didn't really realize it, but we had been talking to the bar one day, and we realized we're kind of the only sisters. We didn't really think about it. We didn't have a lot of money. We didn't have advertising dollars. We did have a mentor who was Scott Reed, who's an amazing attorney, brilliant writer, and he did everything well. And he was our mentor, so we could talk to him about like an expert witness, or he helped sue with a case called Carr versus Carr, an early family law case involving goodwill. And he was invaluable to us, really. He would laugh, he would laugh at us because we were so serious, right? But he was also really important in just kind of, no, you do this with an expert, and here's how you lay foundation. And he was really good for us starting out.
So tell me at that point, what type of cases, what type of law were you practicing? And I guess maybe a secondary question is what type of law did you want to practice if they weren't exactly the same?
So I didn't know. I mean, I think a lot of young lawyers, and especially people starting out on their own, you don't always know. Sometimes you take what comes in the door. So I think now, I mean, what you and I see is we'll see quite a bit of family law because there's not enough family law lawyers up in northern Idaho.
So still speaking about the firm, I'm curious if there are any cases in particular that stand out to you, be it maybe it's your toughest cases or your favorite cases or anything like that.
I think the main thing for me is just looking back, I realize we have done a fair number of pro bono cases in our time, and maybe that wasn't as significant to us, but probably really was to the client. So we've always done, Sue and I, and now you, we do free wills for veterans. I've worked for years with St. Vincent de Paul and then Heritage Health to try to do, once a month or once every other month, do like a free legal clinic. It's probably that's been the most meaningful as far as just the way you can impact a person's life.
How about any funny stories? I think that I should ask you if you have any things you'd like to share.
When I was a young lawyer, and we had a judge here named Judge Pariseau, who was an amazing judge. He was an accountant by trade, very, very fair, very detailed. And I had a custody hearing in front of him, and how you're taught in law school, never ask a question you don't know the answer to. So we were talking about the conduct of the two parties, and there was a young little baby, and the father, and I represented the mother. The father had accused the mother of using the baby's head to knock on the door to say, is anybody home? Use the baby's head. And I made a mistake of asking the question, well, did the baby cry? I mean, like I was trying to suggest it didn't hurt the baby. Like, oh, that was such a terrible question. And then I regretted it. And Judge Pariseau, very out of character, interrupted and said, Miss Allman, you haven't even shown me yet that the baby was conscious. And then I realized he was so upset by this whole conduct of both parties using this baby as a door knocker, which is like, oh my gosh, why did I even go there?
How about other items within the community that you are interested in, active in, or passionate about?
So I think my biggest community project right now is one that Aunt Sue asked me. Aunt Sue only had one wish before she died of me, um, which was, would I help keep Art on the Green going? So for people who don't know it, Art on the Green is an art festival that my sister and her husband and a few others founded 56 years ago. And so it's a huge community event. It brings in artists from all over the US, particularly the Western US. And we run it as a nonprofit 501c3. And we have about 110 artists come, and family entertainment and a children's art garden. And that's probably, as you know, in our office, because we kind of do the permits and do the administrative work here out of the office, which we donate. And then you help with the booth artists, and you help with ice cream and getting volunteers. And what's happened over time is our family all chip in. And that's probably the biggest thing right now.
I'm going to open up the floor if there's anything else that you would like to state or say while you're here.
Yes, I first of all, I want to thank you because I thank you for being the interviewer. Um, I could think of no one better. I thank you for being my partner. I thank you and Aaron for everything. You're my life, as you know. Um, and I'll thank Charlie, my husband, your dad of 39 years. And he always says it sounds like way longer because he is really supportive. I mean, I do a lot of things at work and around town, and he's just really supportive. I mean, he's just there, behind the scenes. I don't tell him anything about cases, of course, but he's a good listener and very supportive, and I appreciate my family very much. And
Yeah.
thank you to the bar. I have no idea how I got this honor, or I feel, of course, there's many more deserving people, but I appreciate everything that the bar does and for this honor.